Welcome to my studio. As we get ready to start a new series of podcasts for the fall season, I thought we'd start in a new place, and this is my former, current, whatever it is, photo studio where I've made many different photographs of many beautiful women over the years. And this will be our base of operation going forward. At least that's the plan for the time being. Today we're answering an age-old question. Does it make a difference who and how your black and white film is processed? Specifically, we're here to talk about this film. It's Fuji Neopan 400 Professional. And I shot it in two different cameras at two different times and processed at two different labs. Does it make a difference? Well, first of all, so you should know that, let me see here, this is expired film, but my experience with expired film has been that it doesn't seem to affect black and white film as much as it does color film. And so this particular roll expired in June of 2008. And so let's take a look at what happened and where it went and what we did with it. The first time I shot the film was with one of my favorite cameras, the Canon A1, which is just a beautiful, wonderful camera. I love it so much. I kind of mixed results. And I did a blog post on this subject, on this particular roll of film and this way this camera handled it. And I'll put a link below so that you can read it in more details. But I kept thinking, was that the problem? Was the lab the problem? So unbeknownst to me and quite casually, I wound up shooting another roll of it in the Contax 167MT. It was another camera I really like, and this was processed locally at Mike's camera. So let's take a look at the two processes based on three important criteria. Back in the days when there were professional labs in cities like Denver, that multiple different labs, high quality professional processing, there were three criteria, and we're going to use that same criteria in evaluating how this film was processed. And those were speed, which basically it boils down to turnaround time. How long from the time you gave them the film did it take to when you get it back? Quality. For quality, it was important. Are the negatives clean, streak-free, no damage? They come back nice and clean, and did the prints or the contact sheets come back clean and well processed? In this case, we're going to be talking about the scans because both places scan the film. The third category is price, and that's probably the easiest to evaluate because they all have price lists. This is what it costs. So we're going to compare the difference in prices, although you'll find that while prices in general in most photo labs are very competitive, there are lots of options and things that they add and subtract, and that can make a difference in the price. So we'll look at those two. So let's start with the first category, speed. You would think that the difference between dealing with a lab that's in California, we're in Colorado, or dealing with a lab that's 5 miles away, that there would be a huge disadvantage to working with an out-of-state lab. But you would be wrong. I've been working with the darkroom since I started my recent foray into film photography, which started in November. Now, one of the ways that they make it easy for you at the darkroom is that they provide a free shipping. So in case you're wondering about that, has maybe to do with the price, but it has to do with the convenience of it also. You print a label, stick it on a bag, put your film in a baggie with the instruction sheet that you can download online, but they always send you a prepaid mailer and a blank order form when they return your negatives. And fill it out, fold it up, put the film in a baggie, put the baggie in a bag, stick the label in there, take it to the post office, and wait for it to come back to your front door. So you can't beat that kind of turnaround. They've been wonderful in multiple of ways, including something that's not in our list of criteria, and that is customer service. When I had questions that had nothing to do with the processing, there was always someone who answered my emails almost instantly, helping me diagnose camera problems. And for that, I'm grateful. So they get extra points for the best customer service anywhere. So on to speed. When I shot this roll of Fuji film, not this roll, it was on Saturday, November 21st. Typically it takes less than a week for the film to get from here to San Clemente, but in this case it took 8 days, 8 calendar days. I don't know if there was any, there might have been a Thanksgiving holiday in there, so that could have something to do with it. But this was the actual times for this particular one. That in 8 days, they started production on the film. They made the scans the next day and uploaded them to me. And the one way they do that is they have a library, online library, and they upload your film scans there. You can then download them. They keep them online for 2 months, I believe. And if you want to keep it permanent, they only charge $18 a year to keep all of your scans online for you. They shipped it back to me, and I received it back in my mailbox out in front of my house on December 3rd. That was a total of 12 days from driving to the post office in Parker, which is 5 miles away, and then having to walk down the bottom of Daisy Hill to pick up the finished negatives, the scans had already been uploaded 3 days before that. Now, by comparison, Mike's camera, if I have color negative film process, the turnaround is really good. They'll turn it around in 3 days, which is hard to beat, because if I sent color and neg film to the darkroom, it would have that same turnaround. It would be 10 to 12 days. However, if you send black and white film, the black and white film is not processed in their Lone Tree, Colorado store, which is 15 miles from my front door. They have to send to Boulder, which is another 50 miles or so away from here. And they quote a turnaround time of 2 weeks. However, in this case, it was 18 days. And when they called me to pick up the film. However, I couldn't get down there till the next day, but I'm only going to count 18 days. So sending a film to California, black and white film to California, took 12 days. Sending black and white film to a local camera store, it took 18 days. So speed, well, I think their speed is depending on the film. For color film, color negative film. I haven't shot an E6. I really don't have any plans to shoot an E6 film. But from a pure speed point of view, color neg, they're hard to beat, and they do a beautiful job on the film. We'll talk about that when we get to quality, which is coming up real soon. So the scorecard is simple. 12 days, 18 days. 2 thumbs up for the darkroom, as long as we're talking about black and white film. Color film, Mike's the winner. So maybe this is a tie. Well, that concludes part 1. We'll be working on parts 2, which we talk about the quality of the film that was processed, and part 3, where we talk about the prices, which aren't that different, but they are different. At the same time, we'll be back here in the studio. We had some challenges in working with the lighting in the workroom, and hopefully in this more controlled environment here, we'll be able to provide something better, and hopefully going forward to get better and better and better. So if you would please subscribe and give us a like. It really helps with the algorithm and gets people to pay more attention to this little channel that we're trying to make happen. I would really appreciate it. There is a post office box below that you can send anything you'd like us to take a look at. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you again real soon.